Alrighty, welcome to a Tuesday. We've got some heat to talk about. We talked about it the last couple of days. Again, it's because it's pretty much going to be everywhere. This is a West Coast heat event. It's going to be really hot in the Central Valley. Already is. Reading this morning at 10 o'clock was 90 degrees. So this is an update on the California heat that's going to last a couple of days in the Bay Area and linger into Thursday for the rest of the Central Valley, where the heat will be pretty much unbearable, over 100 degrees for 3 straight days, maybe 105. Some of the models suggest 108 degrees. So it's pretty warm up there already. We are thinking a lot about the pets, the elderly, kids. The sun is tough. It's hard on everybody, and that it has the ability to just kind of wear you out and exacerbates things. I was just talking to somebody yesterday who has asthma, and they were saying, yeah, my symptoms get really pronounced. And that's true with diabetics. That's true with anybody. If you think about us as regular, just folks who are fairly healthy, heat drags you down anyway. No, I don't feel good. I got a heat headache. Imagine if you've got pre-existing conditions. Imagine if you're a little kid. Imagine if you're an old lady, old man, old anybody, old dog. It's really nasty. And so in the Central Valley, it's going to be horrible for a few days. The winds are already coming out of the north. That's where the fog went. And you see the fogs down here south of Point Conception. You can see the north winds kind of shearing it off right there at the point. Without the fog, of course, there's not many places to go other than hotter. And that's where we are going. We've got some advisories. We've got the heat advisory in orange from the National Weather Service out of Monterey. We've got the purple representing an excessive heat warning. These all last till Thursday. And you'll notice there's areas around the Bay, especially on the peninsula and on the East Shore Freeway area. You're going to see no heat advisory, but you will up in Marin County, Napa, Santa Rosa, Walnut Creek, Concord, Fremont, Livermore, not Fremont, but Livermore Valley. The other thing that's been added to this, which I think is really valued, if you look at if you can kind of peek, let's see if I can get right here, this area. Oops, I don't want to do that. This area right here, those blues along the coast. So the swell's increasing. We've got a northwest swell with a little south swell, but it's going to get pretty big tomorrow. And this normally wouldn't mention this at all, except there's a lot of, million people live in the Bay Area, in San Francisco. They wander out to Ocean Beach because it's going to be 70 degrees at the beach, and they get in trouble. Sorry, it's hot in here. And what I mean by that is, right, you go to the beach and the waves are big and nasty. The rip currents are as bad as they get right now at the end of the winter and the early summer. The rip currents get really bad because of the way the sand is grooved out. So you've got this potential along the coast for there are rip currents, but for people getting in trouble because it's hot. Typically, it's foggy this time of year. People don't go to the beach, or they do. They're warm and bundled. This is going to be one of those events, especially along San Francisco's Ocean Beach, where people are going to want to get in the water. And it's a very dangerous place. We've talked about that too. So let's take a look at current temperatures. Here we are up at Elk Grove. It's 90. Well, let's go to Sacramento. 90 degrees in Sacramento at, I think I got a time on this, at about noon. So this is noontime. It's 90 degrees. So you got nowhere to go but up. The winds are gusting to 25 miles an hour. And the wind direction is kind of out of the north. I think I'm trying to find the wind direction, wind direction, northwest. So west, northwest, or north, northwest. So winds are blowing. This map give you an idea what's going on around the area. You've got even Lake Tahoe. You've got South Lake Tahoe's at 70 degrees. You got 86 degrees down in by the San Luis Reservoir. And then 81 degrees in Ben Lomond up in the higher elevation. So everybody's going to make it. Well, let's go around the bay here. Let's say we've got 90 degrees in Novato right now, or not right now, but at 11 o'clock this morning, which is pretty darn warm. So it's all kind of verifying. Today, I think today's going to be the hottest day around the bay, but tomorrow will be the hottest day inland. So I'm going to back this up. This is temperature. Yesterday, I showed you the 850 millibar map showing temperatures, but it seemed like it was a lot because you're sinking the air. You're in Celsius. You got to convert to Fahrenheit if you're me, and you don't. Fahrenheit's easier to understand. But this is surface map, and this is in Fahrenheit. Okay, so here we are basically this morning, and then watch the colors. Basically, there we are this afternoon. So it was at 90 90 or 88 at 10 o'clock this morning. And then look at the purples in there. Those purples are representing mid 90s in the Sacramento Valley. Look at that, 102. This is this afternoon, and then goes away overnight. But one thing I want you to notice is overnight, it's still in the 70s and 80s. Now, this is a condition that becomes very ripe for fire danger. So if we just talked about rip currents danger, now we're talking about fire danger, because when overnight lows don't recover, when overnight lows stay in the 70s and even low 80s, you wake up and everything's dry. So the potential for fire starts is, I don't know if it's doubled but it's increased greatly. This is my understanding. These are studies they've done over the last few years that if you don't get good fuel moisture recovery overnight, where temperatures cool down, the plant mellows out, doesn't get is not as crinkly, maybe absorbs a little moisture from the atmosphere, especially in the Bay Area when the fog comes in, but not happening. So temperatures overnight stay warm. Fire starts. This is going to take us into Wednesday. The potential for Wednesday afternoon fire starts is really good, or bad, however you want to look at it. So here we are Wednesday morning, and then bam, we get into Wednesday afternoon. So what's that? I'm just barely reading the numbers, like 106, 105. The other thing I want you to notice Wednesday afternoon is, let's see if you can pick this up. I'm sure you can. But here, all this purple is right in there. That is obviously over 100 degrees. Those are big cities. You're picking up Southern California, Los Angeles, Bakersfield, Fresno. So you're going to see strains on the power grid, which is pretty typical for this type of a pattern. This is a West Coast heat event. So with that in mind, we have our heat advisory, we have our extreme heat warning, we have the rip current concerns, and now on top of that, you put the West Coast grid getting tapped for lots of energy. So I'll erase this. Let's see if I can erase it. And then we'll go forward in time here, and you'll see things heat up again on Thursday. Is another hot day. That's Thursday afternoon, but the coasts are cooling. Bay Area is cooling Thursday. And then you'll see still hot where it's typically hot, but not quite as extreme. It cools off a little bit as we go into Saturday and Sunday. There's Saturday morning, still pretty hot in the Central Valley. Wow, Central Valley is going to stay hot for a while. And then it's Sunday, so it does cool a little bit for us. There's a sea breeze, but doesn't cool much for the Central Valley. So along the coast, this is a live picture of Ocean Beach right now. I think it'll pop in here, live picture, but the swell's already pretty good size. The rip currents are going at it because the winter swells cut the sandbars up and then move the sand offshore, and you get these weird areas of rip currents that are I think they're more extreme this time of year, spring, literally late winter, early spring, or middle spring. And we're still in spring, essentially, early summer. So this is how the beach looks now. Tomorrow, you see it's sunny. Tomorrow, there'll be a lot of people out there. And then, of course, then the danger is potentially there. So the forecast for tomorrow, very warm. I think it'll be a little milder around the bay, but still very warm, hot day, heat advisories again. And then on Thursday, temperatures in the Bay Area start to settle down. But you saw Sacramento. Sacramento continues to get blasted with heat, especially on the east side of the Sacramento Valley through Friday, Saturday, and even into Sunday a little bit, which is a kind of a new forecast twist. So we'll keep an eye on the heat for you. Remember, rip currents, heat advisories, extreme heat warnings, and fire danger.